In the very heart of an ancient monarchy whose roots stretch back centuries, an event has unfolded that could not merely shake but completely overturn the immutable foundations of power and succession. The monarch has made a decision that, without exaggeration, shatters age-old canons formed over centuries and has sent a tsunami of bewilderment among the most experienced observers and connoisseurs of royal protocols. Princess Anne, a figure whose unwavering loyalty to the crown and unshakable integrity have always commanded deep respect and admiration, now finds herself at the epicenter of global attention, having received a title that seemingly was destined for someone else entirely. What could have compelled the monarch to make such an unprecedented decision, preferring his sister over his own spouse, who, by all dynastic protocols, should have assumed this position? And what consequences will this bring for the future of the royal family itself, for its centuries-old traditions, and for the dynastic line closely watched by the entire world? The monarch truly dared to alter centuries of royal traditions, and this event sets the stage for a climactic turn of events within the royal family to be observed with bated breath. The monarch has entered the annals of history by publicly announcing the conferral of the Queen's title upon his sister, Princess Anne. This monumental declaration was made during a long-awaited and meticulously prepared public address delivered from the majestic walls of Buckingham Palace. This unprecedented event was attended by numerous royal family enthusiasts, holding their breath in tense anticipation, as well as influential political analysts and representatives of the global media, all acutely aware of the historical significance of the happening. As the monarch solemnly ascended the stage under the gaze of hundreds of cameras and the assembled crowd and announced that Princess Anne would become queen, a collective gasp of astonishment rippled through the throng. This decision was absolutely stunning, as it seemed to completely disregard the immutable order of succession that royals had followed for centuries, like a sacred dogma. Unfortunately, even the most devoted royalists could not have foreseen such an announcement, as power shifted from Queen Consort Camilla to someone most would have previously considered the most unexpected contender for such a high throne. What was initially perceived as another routine meeting dedicated to discussing the future strategic directions of the monarchy suddenly turned into a moment of genuine, historical revelation, as His Majesty King Charles, surrounded by several of his closest relatives and influential senior royal advisors, solemnly approached the balcony of Buckingham Palace. The air was literally thick with the tension of anticipating something unusual. The eyes of all assembled, among whom members of the royal family and numerous influential figures from across the globe stood out, were fixed on the monarch, awaiting a revolutionary announcement. As Charles concluded his speech, he uttered words that echoed over the crowd. "With immense honor, I declare Princess Anne the new Queen of the United Kingdom." A wave of astonishment, turning into whispers of bewilderment, swept through the crowd. Many present could not hide their confusion and shock, including Prince William and Kate Middleton, whose faces reflected deep dismay. Queen Consort Camilla outwardly displayed unwavering composure. However, in the depths of her eyes, one could discern signs of an inner storm undoubtedly raging within her soul. This monumental declaration, capable of redefining established canons of succession, was not a sudden impulse, as if appearing out of nowhere. Behind the scenes of this fateful decision stood a small but incredibly powerful group of trusted individuals and strategists with extensive connections within the royal court. Among those who exerted decisive influence in shaping this pivotal step were Sir Clive Alderton, King Charles's private secretary, as well as several high-ranking courtiers. They meticulously worked to reinforce the monarch's clear understanding of his true purpose while systematically promoting Princess Anne's elevation, emphasizing her exceptional qualities and impeccable readiness to assume such a significant title. Furthermore, an in-depth analysis of current events undeniably confirms that public awareness and readiness to accept Princess Anne in her new, elevated role as queen were largely shaped by her impeccable reputation and long-established image as a devoted, tireless, and unwavering servant of the crown. Prince William, as is widely known, has always provided unwavering support to his august father, deeply understanding the full extent of his prerogatives in state affairs. However, this time, according to informed sources, he expressed certain doubts regarding the swiftness of the impending changes, carefully weighing the potential consequences for his own position and for the future of the entire monarchy. According to information received, the sophisticated and highly diplomatic Her Royal Highness Camilla, despite this decision directly affecting her personally, demonstrated astonishing coolness and composure. Following the announcement of this momentous declaration for Princess Anne, who is to assume the duties inherent in the royal title, this circumstance only underscores and reinforces her profound sense of duty and responsibility. relegating any considerations of external splendor or established traditions to the background when it comes to matters concerning the crown and state governance. In parallel, numerous rumors circulated behind the scenes of the royal court regarding Camilla's future status and the validity of her title, particularly concerning the extent of her future activity at public royal events and a possible decision to withdraw entirely from public life. It would be no exaggeration to say that King Charles's bold and unprecedented declaration marks the dawn of a completely new era in the history of the British monarchy, where customary norms and expectations are undergoing significant revision. This truly shocking and unexpected announcement from King Charles III will undoubtedly reshape the future of the royal family, with few having anticipated that Princess Anne would be called upon to play such a decisive, if not central, role in this process. A legitimate question arises: what truly lies behind the majestic palace gates? And what other secrets does the future of the monarchy hold? In the annals of the British monarchy, Princess Anne, daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, born August 15, 1950, is often mentioned as one of its unsung heroines. Despite her high title, she has skillfully carved out her own niche, sometimes stepping beyond conventional notions of royal duties. As the second child in her august family and the only daughter, Princess Anne was never considered a direct and obvious heir to the royal throne. However, throughout her life, she has demonstrated astonishing dedication to duty and tireless diligence. These qualities have earned her deep respect not only among members of the royal family but also among the wider public, solidifying her unofficial title as the hardest-working royal, earned through an impressive number of annual bilateral meetings and events. It is this unwavering commitment to her obligations that has allowed her to remain one of the few stable and influential figures in the monarchy, despite periodic public scandals and constantly changing public sentiment. From her youngest years, Princess Anne displayed traits of a strong and strong-willed personality. Among her many passions, equestrianism held a special place, where she achieved outstanding success, culminating in representing Great Britain at the 1976 Summer Olympics. These sporting achievements not only highlighted her exceptional discipline and determination but also forged a unique image of a royal figure characterized not by superficial glamour but by genuine depth of character and unwavering independence. To this day, Princess Anne remains deeply involved in sports, holding responsible positions such as president of the British Olympic Association and serving as a respected member of the International Olympic Committee. While her siblings often found themselves in the media spotlight due to various public scandals, Princess Anne consistently avoided excessive publicity. This behavior only reinforced her reputation as a member of the royal family for whom true value lies not in cultivating a public image, but in conscientiously and effectively fulfilling her duties. Of particular note, and perhaps Her Royal Highness Princess Anne's most impressive contribution, is her tireless philanthropic work. She patronizes over 300 charities, many of which remain relatively unknown to the wider public, focusing on critically important areas such as supporting people with disabilities and healthcare development. Among all these numerous initiatives, her connection with the Save the Children Trust, which began in 1977, most convincingly demonstrates her profound dedication to her mission. This collaboration has repeatedly taken her to various corners of the globe, including conflict zones where she actively participated in humanitarian aid efforts. Such experiences not only deepened her respect for tireless work and selfless dedication even when it required significant personal sacrifice, but also forged her reputation as a tireless advocate. It is this image that fundamentally transformed the traditional understanding of what a diligent princess, capable of true service to society, can truly be. It is these character traits, including her unwavering inner resilience and a refusal to engage in ostentatious gestures or seek public glamour in her activities, that help explain her ascent to the position of queen during King Charles III's reign. Such a turn of events will likely herald profound transformations in the very essence of the monarchical institution. The decree to strip Camilla of her queen consort title and appoint Princess Anne to this high post is truly an unprecedented and decisive action, generating a wave of astonishment among both loyal adherents of the British royal family and the wider public. Although Camilla, as is known, made colossal efforts to harmoniously integrate into her husband's family and gain acceptance, such a stunning announcement inevitably raised countless questions about the underlying reasons for such sudden changes. The most apparent and plausible reason for this step appears to be a deep desire to transform public perception of the royal family and refresh its image. A significant portion of observers and citizens, due to her controversial and ambiguous biography, did not perceive Camilla as an ideal candidate to embody the ideals of a modern monarchy. It is highly probable that His Majesty King Charles III chose Princess Anne in an effort to emphasize the immutable principles of service and dedication to duty, thereby opening a new chapter in the history of the crown and eradicating negative public perception stemming from the monarchy's past difficulties. Over the years, Camilla has undoubtedly managed to establish herself in public consciousness, securing an honorable place. However, the lingering shadow of the late Princess Diana will invariably loom over her in her role as royal consort. And while members of the royal family may have accepted this new face in the royal household for a substantial part of the public, Camilla's familiar image inevitably evoked memories of historical analogies to the notorious affair that Charles and Princess Diana so persistently sought to conceal from public view. In reality, Camilla faced the most serious challenge: implacable resistance from that part of society that reveres Diana's memory, refusing to acknowledge Camilla's legitimate position even after her marriage to Charles in 2005. Despite Queen Elizabeth II's gracious approval of Camilla in such a responsible post, a deeply rooted belief persisted that this recognition would always be insufficient for full acceptance. Presumably, for King Charles, promoting Princess Anne, undoubtedly a more diligent and less controversial royal than Camilla, to the forefront was a strategic move aimed at alleviating public discontent regarding Camilla's position. Stripping Camilla of a specific title can also be interpreted as the monarchy's desire to adapt to a rapidly changing social landscape, as the role and significance of each member of the royal family are constantly scrutinized in a fast-evolving world. It can be assumed that His Majesty King Charles III perceived the elevation of Princess Anne as an unambiguous call to embody the fundamental virtues deeply revered by his subjects: unwavering loyalty, true resilience, and selfless service to society. Princess Anne, widely considered the most diligent and tireless among the royal family, has always consistently embodied these ideals in her life and activities. Camilla, in turn, repeatedly undertook similar initiatives, as she also sought to reimagine and transform the image of royal femininity, but within a more traditional, perhaps even timeless, form of power that, however, has ceased to resonate with the modern worldview. Thus, King Charles's promotion of Princess Anne marked a strategic shift for the monarchy towards a less ostentatious but more focused and effective service to society, which is undoubtedly in full harmony with the spirit of the current era. However, despite Camilla losing her title as Queen Consort, her presence in royal life will by no means be completely negated. It is assumed that her future role at court will be less formal but will nonetheless retain the character of valuable and indispensable support, reminiscent of the restrained yet effective style of service of the late Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. Such a change in circumstances can provide her with a unique opportunity to delve deeper into her personal interests and fully dedicate herself to philanthropic activities, which often remained overshadowed by her higher status within the royal family. A reduction in her active involvement in numerous royal duties could serve as a catalyst for Camilla to forge a new, more distinctive image, freed from the constant comparisons that inevitably haunted her for many years. Ultimately, the loss of such a significant title is undoubtedly perceived as a painful defeat, felt both on a deeply personal and a broad social level. However, it is precisely this challenging circumstance that may turn into a unique opportunity for Camilla to reevaluate and reshape her identity, continuing to benefit the royal family, albeit in a less public format, but with the potential for profound and significant positive transformations. Public reaction. Immediately after His Majesty King Charles III officially announced his decision to elevate Princess Anne to the throne as the new queen, a powerful wave of reactions instantly swept across social media platforms. Internet users displayed an incredibly wide range of opinions and emotions. Some expressed genuine delight, others showed a certain degree of skepticism, but the overwhelming majority of users voiced their unconditional support for the newly crowned queen. The relevant hashtag quickly gained popularity as countless monarchy enthusiasts rushed to acknowledge her more than 2 decades of impeccable and devoted service, the logical culmination of which, in their opinion, was precisely this coronation. A renowned expert on monarchical affairs, Richard Fitzwilliams, emphasizing the positive aspects of the development, posted a message on his Twitter account stating that it was high time to properly recognize and celebrate Princess Anne's selfless dedication to her royal duty. However, as is often the case, alongside the powerful wave of approval, diametrically opposed viewpoints immediately emerged. A significant number of citizens expressed doubts about the appropriateness and justification of the decision, pointing out that Camilla had already firmly established her status as queen consort and had managed to win the sincere affection and love in the hearts of many subjects. Heated discussions unfolded not only in the virtual space of online networks. Active representatives of civil society also did not remain aloof, expressing their deep considerations and analytical opinions regarding the situation. In particular, Dr. T. Wills, a distinguished British historian, expressed her full support for the modification of power structures that occurred, seeing in Princess Anne's elevation those fundamental qualities that, in her deep conviction, a modern monarchy should possess: unyielding resilience and an unwavering sense of duty. This divergence of views between the two main groups of commentators served as a vivid reflection of a deeper societal division that gripped the nation. Society had to comprehend and process the sheer unexpectedness of both Princess Anne's elevation and, conversely, Camilla's demotion within the long-established royal hierarchy. Despite the extensive uproar and disagreements surrounding this situation, Princess Anne's loyal adherents continued to vigorously defend her interests and reputation in the online space, actively circulating witty images and short videos that celebrated her unwavering dedication to royal duty and service. One of the most popular posts, which quickly garnered millions of views on TikTok, vividly showcased the numerous public events in which Princess Anne had actively participated over many years, accompanied by the concise yet impactful caption, "The hardest-working royal has finally received her crown." Princess Anne's followers, representing the most diverse groups of royal enthusiasts worldwide, also warmly supported this viewpoint, unanimously asserting that only and truly deserved such high recognition and honors. Meanwhile, Camilla's adherents, demonstrating clear indignation over the step taken, immediately began widely disseminating the hashtag #BringBackCamilla. Such sharp and uncompromising disagreements only strengthen the argument that the current transformations carry a powerful potential for division, once again plunging the institution of monarchy into a rapid stream of highly polarized public debate. The future of the monarchy. The looming prospect of potential transformations within the royal family, stemming from Princess Anne's potential ascent to the royal throne, sparks deep reflection on the future roles and destinies of Prince William and Kate Middleton. Until recently, both the general public and leading experts were convinced that in the direct line of succession after King Charles III, it would be William and Kate who would assume the crown. They represented a carefully crafted and refined public image designed to symbolize a modern and energetic royal family. However, Princess Anne's increased activity could call their predetermined path into question, creating a real possibility that her own tireless efforts might overshadow theirs. According to renowned royal expert Katie Nicholl, such an unforeseen turn of events could radically revise their predetermined trajectory or previously made predictions, potentially forming a kind of leadership vacuum at the very top of the hierarchy. In an environment where the fulfillment of royal duties is becoming increasingly complex and demanding of deep immersion, Prince William and Kate will likely have to fundamentally reevaluate the functions and roles traditionally defined for them within the strict royal system. Prince William was initially prepared to assume the role of a central figure, a true leader, while Kate provided invaluable support in creating an image of a loving, accessible, and open royal family for the subjects. Princess Anne, known for her unwavering loyalty to the crown and remarkably active lifestyle, could well lead to a substantial portion of key and most responsible duties being placed upon her shoulders. Rumors circulate that in order not to be left out of current trends and developments of the era, Prince William and Princess Kate plan to redirect their efforts towards deep public engagement, with a particular focus on attracting the younger generation. Such a strategic move, it is assumed, will allow them to earn the right to be called a people's royal family, which, in turn, symbolizes a deeper and more sincere connection with the subjects. Commenting on these potential metamorphoses, the distinguished historian Hugo Vickers specifically notes that the Cambridge couple may need to master a completely different sphere of activity to establish their unique and unparalleled position within the complex monarchical system. In other words, they will have to find a new paradigm for their existence, boldly deviating from strictly prescribed traditions. Such radical transformations would undoubtedly inevitably provoke certain disagreements behind the scenes of the royal court. This becomes especially evident when considering the significant period of time that Prince William and Princess Kate have dedicated to thoroughly mastering and becoming accustomed to their current duties. According to insider information, in public, Prince William demonstrates absolute support for his father, the King's decisions. However, informed sources report that within the family circle or during moments of personal reflection, he faces a very difficult task to accept this new reality and come to terms with its inevitable consequences. For Princess Kate, this transformation takes on exceptional significance as her public image has always been inextricably linked to the prospect and meticulous preparation for the role of the future monarch's spouse. She has consistently been associated with the destiny of becoming queen consort, which undoubtedly imposed certain limitations on her public presence. However, there is a viewpoint that such a narrow interpretation significantly limits the scope of this couple's activities. For them, a unique opportunity opens up to choose a completely different path where they will not need to strictly adhere to prescribed norms of behavior or traditional expectations, which, in turn, will allow them to act much more freely and innovatively. As royal correspondent Camilla emphasizes, the current period could be a truly pivotal moment for Prince William and Princess Kate. It provides them with an exceptional opportunity to assume multifaceted leadership roles, thereby actively preparing for a potential ascent to the throne and the future leadership of the entire royal dynasty. In light of the impending succession in the United Kingdom, the pressing question increasingly arises: does Her Royal Highness Princess Anne possess all the requisite qualities to ascend the throne and become queen? Undoubtedly, Princess Anne consistently commands deep respect for her unwavering determination and admirable diligence, which are inherent traits of her personality. However, her demeanor is often perceived as quite reserved and serious, which, according to many, is her distinguishing characteristic. Her unvarnished directness sometimes clashed with the inherent tact and natural warmth characteristic of prominent monarchical figures like Queen Elizabeth II and her daughter-in-law, Princess Diana. These ladies successfully combined a businesslike focus on their duties with an easygoing cordiality towards the general public. Richard Fitzwilliams, a respected royal expert, affirms this view, stating that Princess Anne is undoubtedly an exceptionally reliable individual, but she unfortunately lacks that elusive magnetism that draws the masses. As a result, initial assessments of Princess Anne's potential reach and depth of influence in her new, more prominent role as a leading figure in the monarchy have been quite mixed. Throughout her many years of service within the royal family, Princess Anne has repeatedly encountered significant difficulties, particularly in establishing effective interaction with the wider public. This was especially challenging given her clear reluctance to constantly be in the center of public attention. From the late 1970s to the 1980s, Princess Anne was regularly subjected to sharp criticism for her terseness and abrupt remarks, as well as a distinct absence of the warmth and ease typically expected when meeting the public and press representatives. A vivid illustration of this is a 1970s incident. Weary of intrusive media attention, the princess addressed a reporter with an extremely brief and straightforward remark. This episode not only caused indignation among her numerous admirers but also clearly demonstrated her unwillingness to compromise or attempt to foster a deeper dialogue with the public, fully exposing her true nature. Unlike other members of the royal family who display a significantly greater degree of warmth and skill in public communications, such as Princess Diana or even Prince Harry, Princess Anne consistently adheres to the principle of duty and protocol first, and only then, if circumstances and royal obligations permit, perhaps some interaction. This approach significantly limits her ability to gain broader public support, especially among the younger generation. When the time comes for her to ascend as queen, the competition for the undivided respect and genuine affection of the wider public will be fiercely uncompromising. She will inevitably enter a kind of unspoken contest with Prince William and Kate, who have long and successfully cultivated their image as approachable and empathetic figures of the modern monarchy. Their affectionate, witty, and open public demeanor undoubtedly presents a serious challenge. Kate, in particular, has set a truly difficult-to-achieve standard for royal activity and engagement. Even during her relatively short tenure as a senior royal, especially during Meghan Markle's time in the role, her management of royal duties was not only skillful but also significantly impacted all who interacted with monarchical affairs. According to a prominent royal expert, Princess Anne's relatively reserved and at times seemingly closed behavior can be seen as counterproductive in today's world, in our society which is largely oriented towards visual image and public perception. Anyone aspiring to the throne and becoming monarch is obliged to find an effective way to engage with the public. Upon ascending the royal throne, and will need to find a delicate balance and skillfully combine her inherent seriousness and unwavering devotion to duty with a greater degree of friendliness and genuine openness. This balance is vitally important so as not to be overshadowed by more charismatic and perhaps more popular members of the royal family. In her new role as queen, she will likely have to deviate somewhat from her exclusively strict adherence to her proclaimed credo of service and unwavering duty, becoming significantly more open and accessible to the broad masses of her subjects. Undoubtedly, her powerful strength lies in her image as a tirelessly working individual who selflessly and devotedly fulfills her duties. However, she vitally needs to master the art of effectively engaging in public interaction and, when necessary, knowing how to disengage, constantly adapting to the changing expectations and demands of the modern generation. Furthermore, renowned royal biographer Robert Lacey emphasizes that to more effectively capture the attention and deep affection of the audience and might consider participating in more informal events and sharing her personal interests, such as horse riding and various sports, which could significantly bring her closer to the people. Lacey warns that she faces a very difficult task. She will have to change, adapt to new realities, but at the same time preserve her true essence and unique individuality. Perhaps, if Princess Anne manages to skillfully combine the ancient traditions of the monarchy with a certain degree of freedom and informality, the current interpretation and understanding of what it means to be queen may undergo significant changes, with her at the forefront of this concept, clearly demonstrating that charm has no single universal definition. Camilla's future role. The recent unexpected announcement that Camilla has stepped down from the role of king's consort has raised numerous questions and generated much speculation regarding how this step will affect her position and future activities within the royal dynasty. Having married King Charles in 2005, Camilla made significant and consistent efforts to transform public perception of herself and integrate harmoniously into the ranks of the royal family. However, unfortunately, the loss of this high title has placed Camilla in a very delicate and challenging position. According to Angela Levin, a renowned biographer and author of Camilla from Outcast to Queen Consort, to assess Camilla's future, a more appropriate role would be what Levin described as a pensioner, or, rather, a courtesan in the context of her future activities rather than a fully active member of the ruling dynasty. Camilla will have a great deal of influence now that she won't be seen often, especially given that it is a very extended family, Levin states, suggesting that her influence might even increase despite the expected decrease in public activity, especially considering the extensive and branched nature of the modern royal family. Camilla will likely continue to support and assist Charles and the other members of the royal family, but her ability to play this role will undoubtedly require significant adjustment and adaptation given recent events. Although her formal status will change and likely become less visible, it is presumed that Camilla will maintain her active involvement in charitable work, an area where she has long established herself as a very effective and dedicated figure. For many years, even before becoming queen consort and during her time as the Princess of Wales's consort, Camilla tirelessly served as patron of over 90 charitable organizations and focused her attention on addressing a range of socially significant issues, including promoting literacy, combating domestic violence, and raising awareness about osteoporosis, which holds deep personal significance for her due to family experience, as her mother suffered from the disease. Among her many significant initiatives, the project she personally spearheaded stands out: the Duchess of Cornwall's Reading Room. This platform rapidly transformed into a widely recognized and extremely popular online resource, actively spreading affection for reading and the rich world of literature. It successfully attracts thousands of dedicated users and countless supporters from all corners of the globe. Mark Sussman, in his responsible position as director of the National Literacy Trust, has repeatedly emphasized that her sincere enthusiasm and tireless activity in promoting reading, literacy, and comprehensive educational development have provided invaluable support and tangible benefits to numerous organizations and diverse initiatives. In light of these circumstances, it is quite probable that instead of simply submitting to the prescriptions and limitations imposed by her current duties and high responsibilities, Camilla will take targeted steps to significantly expand her influence and the scope of her activities, striving to achieve specific goals. This approach, in turn, can open new horizons for her to create a truly socially oriented legacy that will not be confined solely to the frameworks and support of monarchical institutions. There is no doubt that Camilla will continue her extensive charitable work. However, there is another, equally probable prospect, that of a complete distancing from public life. Given that Princess Anne has already ascended the throne and become queen, it is quite predictable that Camilla will appear at fewer key royal events and occupy less prominent positions. Such a scenario could lead to her transition to a more traditional and less public role focused on supporting King Charles and assisting junior members of the dynasty, particularly Prince William and Princess Kate Middleton. Renowned royal biographer Robert Hardman suggests that Camilla might follow the example of the late and always deeply revered Queen Mother, whose personality gained incredible popularity and genuine affection in royal circles after she voluntarily stepped away from the direct powers she had previously exercised as queen consort. Camilla's potential decision to relinquish active royal duties can be interpreted as a step aimed at protecting her personal honor and dignity, especially if she seeks to avoid any hint of overshadowing Anne's new role in the royal family. Commentator Hardman expresses the opinion that such a maneuver can significantly reduce the level of internal disagreements and, consequently, strengthen and preserve the impeccable image of the monarchy. However, a natural question arises. How will Camilla be perceived after the completion of her official reign if she indeed decides to distance herself from active functions? After long years spent under the scrutiny of a critical public and decades of persistent effort, she finally achieved recognition as a full-fledged queen consort. This undoubtedly was the first and most significant step in her journey. Nevertheless, such a sharp and unexpected turn of events carries a serious threat of losing most of the colossal achievements she so painstakingly worked for over all these years. However, some observers believe that this circumstance will not be overly limiting for Camilla, as it will provide her with a unique opportunity to shape her own historical narrative at her discretion and without any external pressure. The main advantage of such a position is that, freed from the numerous obligations inextricably linked to her high title, Camilla will be able to fully dedicate herself to the role of a dignified matriarch, using her extensive opportunities and significant resources for the benefit of the causes she genuinely supports. According to biographer Penny Junor, author of numerous works dedicated to Camilla, this moment should be an opportunity for her to demonstrate her true significance to the world, not just as Charles's consort, but as a true queen of the world. In the most favorable turn of events, the current stage for Camilla will appear not as a mere formal relinquishment of powers, but as a significantly deeper process. It will be a kind of conscious and deliberate retreat into which Camilla immerses herself as part of her own transformation. What outwardly may be perceived as a reduction in her status will, in essence, turn into a radical rethinking and redefinition of her true position within the complex hierarchy of the royal family. These events will undoubtedly have far-reaching consequences for the entire royal dynasty. This decisive and somewhat unexpected step attributed to Camilla inevitably provokes deep reflection on the future fate of the entire royal house and whether it can become a powerful catalyst for even more extensive and fundamental transformations. Princess Anne's ascension to the throne as queen was undoubtedly an event that caused widespread astonishment in society, yet its numerous repercussions carry extremely serious consequences for both the entire royal family and the British nation as a whole. For many centuries, the royal family has invariably adhered to the strictest hierarchy and unbreakable traditions regarding the order of succession to the throne. The reigning monarch's decision to elevate a figure who, despite her widespread recognition, historically remained in the shadows, not only disrupted the carefully constructed order initially established by King Charles III, but also clearly demonstrated that selfless service and unwavering fulfillment of duty can take precedence over ancient birthright. Renowned royal biographer Hugo Vickers aptly characterized this decision as a truly progressive step, marking a certain departure from the accustomed stability that has always distinguished this venerable institution. In light of such significant events, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Prince Edward and Sophie will likely be forced to reevaluate their position and their own significance as the monarchical institution steadily moves forward, adapting to new realities. The most immediate and perhaps fundamental consequence of Anne's elevation to the rank of queen is the unforeseen ambiguity that has arisen in the traditional order of succession. Although King Charles continues to serve as the reigning monarch, this event inevitably raises many serious questions and deep reflections among his children and grandchildren, especially Prince William and his three heirs, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Prominent royal commentator Richard Palmer expressed the opinion that current events can be interpreted in multifaceted ways, especially in a context where the primary emphasis shifts to professional skills, personal contribution, and unwavering dedication to duty rather than mere inherent courage. In the event that Princess Anne's role as queen is perceived by the public as successful and highly effective, this, according to Palmer, could provoke significant changes in the long-established royal hierarchy. Such shifts could potentially even affect Prince George's readiness to bear the heavy burden of a future crown. However, as the analyst warns, such radical transformations could lead to a period of instability and even chaos and significantly complicate the process of public acceptance of these new, critically important responsibilities in the coming years. The presumed redistribution of powers and official duties among members of the royal family will most likely provoke a storm of emotions and inevitable internal disagreements, especially among those who have long felt undervalued for their own contributions and merits. In light of recently erupted scandals involving some individuals close to the throne, certain figures may well see these large-scale reassignments as a favorable opportunity to restore their former, lost position in the royal hierarchy. Nevertheless, it remains absolutely clear that the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, will not return to any official positions within the royal household. Consequently, as renowned royal historian Angela Levin rightly notes, such cardinal changes can generate not only internal opponents directly within the palace but also cause significant negative reactions among the wider public. This circumstance obliges His Majesty King Charles III to make significantly greater efforts to ensure cohesion and unbreakable unity among the senior members of the royal family, especially now that Princess Anne has assumed such an elevated and responsible position. In the current challenging situation, the royal dynasty's ability to act as a unified and monolithic front takes on truly paramount importance for its future. Perhaps the most significant aspect of current events is the potential impact of Princess Anne's increasing role on public perception of the royal family. There is a strong hope that the monarchy will be perceived as an institution focused on selfless work and service, emphasizing diligent effort and dedication to duty, rather than solely ostentatious luxury and ceremonial splendor. Such a transformation of image can deeply resonate with British citizens whose attitude towards the royal family in general has become noticeably more critical in recent years. This is especially acute among the younger generation who regularly question the expediency and significance of the institution of monarchy in the modern world. Undoubtedly, public opinion will be a determining factor in ensuring the long-term viability and relevance of the monarchical system. As royal commentator Victoria Arbiter aptly remarks, they must know what is expected of them, which only underscores the undeniable importance of meeting society's expectations and demands. Should these transformations be perceived by the wider public as a long-awaited and vitally important transition to a more modern, open, and effective monarchy, then the very existence of the crown may be guaranteed for another generation. Conversely, if the steps taken appear chaotic or a clear violation of centuries-old traditions and established norms, this risks undermining and subsequently self-destructing the entire institution. In this regard, questions inevitably arise. How successfully will current members of the royal family manage to adapt and integrate these new principles into their activities? And, no less crucially, will time definitively answer whether these cardinal changes have contributed to strengthening or, on the contrary, weakening the authority and influence of the British monarchy?